All right, and we're gonna get started right now. And we're live, Mookie. Thank you for being on here. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I got a lot of questions ever since I did the training with you. I think in Willow Springs. What was it, like 2 months ago?
Yeah, about that.
How
Give it a
often?
look.
First of all, how often do you train? Do you train people?
Shoot, I got something coming up this weekend. So as often as I can, I mean, that's one of the things I like to do is to get back to the sport. But honestly, like, just to see the look on people's faces when they improve and stuff, that I just live for that. Literally, I live for that. So as often as I can. Right now, I'm averaging like every other weekend, I have like a coaching thing to do.
Now, do you because the training that I did was to get my license.
Yes,
Now, are your trainings to get license or to improve? Or you cover all of it?
I covered all of it, all of it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a USMCA licensed instructor, and I'm also with I did I'm the licensed instructor with the person that gives out the licenses at the BRL, and then also I'm one of the instructors over there at Fast Track Riders. So I'm doing things all, we giving licenses out. I'm, racing myself, and I'm always want to, help people improve. So I'm always available for that as well.
How'd you get into motorcycles, and how did you then become an instructor?
Well, I got into motorcycles because my dad, he wishes like he wishes he can rewind time and never even get me into this, but I got into it because my dad was always into motorcycles from a young age, and naturally he kind of asked, try to get his son into it, but he never thought in a million years that I would take it and start racing with it. So that's why I said he wish he can take it back, because when he shows up to the races, he can't even watch. He walks away right at the start. When the flag goes green, he just walks off.
He just
He can't watch.
now what is so I went there because what do you call it? Moto Republic had one of those promotions where you pay X amount of money and it was a track date for pretty much everybody. And one of the guys, honestly, I don't know if he meant it to tell me or if he was just daring me, but he, like, when I rolled up, they were like, "Hey, bro, there's a class that just started right now. You should go upstairs and speak to Mookie and see if you can enroll and get your
Uh-huh.
license." And it's weird because I've never talked to anybody about getting a license. It's kind of like something I had in the back of my mind, and I just went for it. And I interrupted your class. I think you were 5 minutes in,
Yeah,
and got in there and got on the track. I didn't even have a suit or nothing. I was not prepared, and I
yeah,
just did it. And then I hit you up, and I was trying to get instructions on how to get a suit,
yeah,
logos, branding, and you helped me out and pointed many directions for that. And you could talk about what you offer and what you
yeah.
recommend. Um, but then later on, I was like, "Fuck, wait a minute! I got to buy a certain bike to race, and I got to buy a fucking tracksuit, and
Yeah,
I gotta." There's a lot of
a
it's
lot.
intricate. Yeah. What are the steps? Is it difficult to become a racer, or is it easy? And what do you need?
Okay, like there's several levels to it. It's not difficult to become a racer, but to become a good racer or a great racer, it is extremely difficult and extremely technical. But if you wanted to get into racing, for any of you guys out there that's listening right now, what I mean, first thing I would do is like literally just start going to track days. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to jump in the deep end of the pool, and just jumping, because there's some really fast people, and it's a lot more aggressive riding than track days. So if you go to show up to your first couple of track days and you're on level one and they move you to level two, then you're starting on your way. From level two on up, that's where you find people who is dibbling, dallying in racing, dipping their toe in the ocean. But then once you move up to level three, now you're like more to the front of a pack, and once you get used to people passing, or you passing people, because it's important to know how to pass and know the rules of the track, because it kind of transfers over from a track day into the racing world. So once you get used to all that and used to that, like I said, the passing and the speed of it all, then you can reach out and join. There's several race schools everywhere. You know, I mean, it's just what isn't just the one with that you did. You know, I also offer licenses at WERA, but WERA has stopped going on the West Coast. But there was there and there's other race organizations, and each one have their own licensing. You know what I mean? And once you get a license with one, they usually do a reciprocity where you can go to any organization and still race because you have a license through your particular organization. But that should be the progression. Start in track days, and when you get it good at that, and you can move on up through there and get to the highest level of that track day, then you're more prepared. You're more ready to go because it won't be such a surprise to you, everything that's happening on the track.
Now, would you recommend when you start off, would you recommend, you know, certain class of when you start racing, 600, then go to
Oh,
1,000 and, because originally my mentality, this was my mentality as I was doing your course. When you were doing the course or when I was taking your course, I was like, you know what? I got a few bikes. I have a street glide that I kind of ride on the weekends, but that's about it. That'd be a badass, bagger BRL.
yeah,
So I was like, fuck, maybe I can fix this up, get it set up. And then I was like, well, it's going to cost me another 20, 30 grand.
easy, if not more.
Easy, if not more.
Easy,
Well,
if not more.
I've put stuff into it,
Yeah.
obviously I'm X amount in, and to go more 30, 40 grand. And then
Yes.
I started seeing accidents. I'm like, baggers don't crash that good.
Uh-uh.
They're pretty,
Pieces falling off everywhere.
they're pretty devastating how bad they, yeah. So then I started calculating that, and then I was like, oh man, this is getting more expensive. So then I said, well, let me focus on the Buells or the Dynas because they do, what's that other racing called? They have
Um,
baggers, and then they have,
yeah, they have hooligans.
yeah, the
They
hooligan
got
race.
hooligans. There's quite a few different things you can do.
Yeah, so then I was like, that's cool. Buy another bike, fix that up. Maybe that's 30 grand, but that's a whole nother bike.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, dude, just start off with a 600. Buy a 600 and stay in the 600 category, build your way up. The 1,000 cc category is very competitive. Those guys are very professional. 600, they're just as professional, but you still have a lot of control. Do you agree with that? And
And now actually, unfortunately, I don't. Um, my recommendation, and it can really build your racecraft and really learn how to do it. I would really start off with if you really want somebody wanted to get into racing, I would start off with a 300. Like
oh,
yeah, a 300, like a Ninja 300. Yes, that's outdated. Yes, they have a 400 out, but the 400s are a lot more expensive. But for a 300, you could probably get one already built up, race ready. You're not, what I mean, and they still have a class. There's still a class for them where you won't be subject to have to like deal with the 400s. But you probably get one for about 2,500 bucks, race ready. Like literally, it's safety wired, everything like that. And then there's less speed involved. So you learn to really maximize your brakes, learning how to use the brakes really well, learning the high corner speed. That's why little kids that they're doing Moto America, the little 400 class, and they move to the 600 class, right off the bat, they hit the ground and they're running and they're up towards the front of that super sport class in the 600. So honestly, I would do the 300. And when you really get good at that, what I mean? Maybe even just do a half a season where, then you can sell it for what you paid for it. You know what I mean? Because you buy it for 2,500, sell it for 2,500. Or even if you have to let it go with 500 bucks, you don't race the half season, sell it for 2,000, pay it forward. And you've only lost 500, and now you got a whole bunch of racecraft. Now you buy yourself a 400. With the 400, it has a lot more horsepower. There's a lot of things available right now. You can get them they can go from anywhere between like 5,500 on up to people selling them for 14,000. So, but the 14,000, that's like top of the line. Everything is on it. But that bike is incredible. Like literally, it's incredible. I have an R3 that I'm gonna put on the track this weekend. I'm gonna put it on the track this weekend and go fiddle around in the 300 class, mess around in the 300 class. But once you do that, now you're further developing now with a little bit more power, and then people go up the next class up is the twins class, and that's where you can find hooligan type stuff. If you want to go to that American muscle type, machinery and it's to get away from the Japanese. That's where it splits. You know what I mean? You can do a hooligan or you can do the soft tail, I think they call it. Well, they do something, you know what I mean? But you can get in that one, and that's not as powerful or as competitive as some of the other ones, but it's still a lot going
It's in
on.
its own
But
level.
yeah, but this, like I say, if you stick with the Japanese type stuff, you know, either SV 650s, they have the new Yamaha R7, those, and then you have that RS 660 by Aprilia. All those bikes have been incredible. Like, you know what I mean? And I rode a 660. I've been helping test um, the 660 with for a couple of my friends that have them, and they want to, and they're already racing them, but they want to like further develop the bike. So I've been helping them test and work out the geometry. That bike is almost as fast as the 600. Like they are like, it was a surprise to me. You know what I mean? So that would be the next up, and then because once you get to the 600, you talking about like Josh Heron and all the, and you know what I mean, and Rocco Landers, all these people. They have, you'll see them at the local tracks. Maybe not Josh Heron, but you'll see Rocco Landers that show up at CDMA or something. You know, working on their craft, and you know, M4 Suzuki. So you get thrown into the deep end real fast if you try to mess with a 600. There's a lot more power. You can get thrown off the bike a lot easier. You have to really know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Dialing in traction control, making sure your suspension is right. So I would literally recommend starting from 300, go 400, and then like 650, because the potential, you know, for you to get hurt it gets pretty high. As
Now, is it? Would you say riding a track is more dangerous than riding on the street, or would you say the opposite? Riding
I
the
would say riding on the street is incredibly dangerous. I'm so scared. I haven't ridden on the street since 2004. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The last time I got hit, as I was going through the air, I was thinking like, I'm never doing this again. Before I even hit the ground, I was like, I'm done. I'm not riding on the street anymore. I didn't race at that time, and that's what got me into racing. You know what I mean? So I went from falling in the ground, and I was like, that's it. I'm never gonna ride another motorcycle, to racing carts. You know, I'm bought go karts,
Yeah.
and those things is, you know, insanely fast and stuff too. But then I got introduced into mini racing. Many people start with that. They like go to mini before the 300s. You can get like a CRF 150 or CRF 100, or they have like mini classes that race on kart tracks. And now you're talking about spending just, you know, a couple, you know, less than $1,000, like around $1,000 a year in tires, and that's it. Like it's a real cheap way to get into racing and get yourself set, have fun. Then you move to the big tracks, you know. So if you wanted to start from, because if you want to start from that level, there's a lot of top level pros out there. You've heard of Tiny Elias? He was a world champion racer. He won the Moto 2, the very first Moto 2 World Championship. He's out there all the time on these little kart tracks. So I have kart track bikes in the garage right now. I'm always training people at the kart tracks. So it's a great way to train. I don't care if you're Rossi. He's at the kart tracks all the time. All of his little VR46 camp, they're at the kart tracks training. You saw Mark Marquez when he was getting his shoulder fixed, his first ride back from the shoulder getting fixed. He was at a kart track. You know what I mean? So there's lots of ways to get into this race thing, but I would really learn your race craft. It's safer, and you'll be a lot better when you get into it. You know, you could just jump right in, buy a 1000, you just be in the back for a long time and be afraid
Oh
of
yeah.
your for a long time. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
best to work your way into it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've only been on the track. Shit, I've only been to the track a couple times.
Yeah.
The first time I was at the track was at Chuckwalla when
Um,
they did that Harley Davidson thing. So the BRL became a little bit more popular, and they were saying, "Hey, man, there's this event for Harley Davidsons to go out there." And when I went out there, like I fucking loved it. And I don't want to talk shit, but I killed it. And
yeah.
and then the second time was with you at Willow Springs,
Yeah.
and same thing, I was on a big ass GSA, you know,
Yep.
fucking bars and lights and everything, and again, I was like, "Man, like, this feels really, really good." I
Yeah.
mean, you made me I felt fast as fuck, and I was kinda like I don't want to talk shit, but I was killing everybody in that class. But you made me look like a fucking well, obviously your bikes and your experience.
Yeah.
But my point is that I like riding through traffic
Um,
fast. It's so technical. The way that I explain it is it's so technical riding through traffic that it makes me feel good. And when I
uh,
went on the track, I was like, oh man, okay, once I get these turns, like when you were explaining the turns and the fuck,
the
what's
way
the
you enter, yeah, the way you
way you
enter
enter, the way
turns,
you exit, the way you lean,
yeah.
getting used to your braking, getting used to what's the big word when you're coming in? Uh,
Besides entry, well,
yeah,
like trail breaking.
trail braking. When we got into all that technical stuff, I was like, fuck, if I figure this out, getting through people was technical. And I felt very comfortable at that. Now I just need to master the track. And that's
Mhm.
what you were teaching. I was like, dude, I really want to do this, you know? So
Yeah,
then I started thinking about, fuck, you got to buy the bike, you got to buy the gear, but then you got to buy a trailer or a truck. Then you got to buy more fucking gear. Like it really builds
it's
up.
a deep, deep, deep pool. That's why people are always looking for sponsorships all the time, including myself. I'm always looking for sponsors all the time.
And then how do you go about getting sponsors?
You
Knock on doors and
well, that's the old school way to do it. But if you can, you know, you just talk to businesses. I mean, that's the best way to kind of say it. But most of the time, people go to places that are already into motorcycling, like Cycle Gear and all the other places like the tire companies and stuff, because they want to have you win on their product.
yeah.
And we're just have their product out there. You don't even necessarily have to win. They want to represent. If you can present a great image of their product, that just gets their name out there and gets seen. So that's their. You have to be able to make good,
Showboat.
make them believe that, okay, if I give you this, what can I get in return? Like, what I mean, is it going to help my business at all? Or am I just giving away money? I could give that away to any bum on the street. So you want to like show them that, have some kind of resume and some kind of presentation you can give to them and be like, okay, with this amount, I can do this for you, And so
Now
that's the hard part.
now when you get these sponsors, how do you do this? Do you like get your own LLC and you're a brand and they're writing a check to the brand, or you take it as an
Yeah,
individual?
that would be best. You know what I mean? That would be the best. But when you get an LLC, of course, you have the taxes and stuff like that, and get more technical. But you can also do it under your own name as a sole proprietor. So there's several ways, depending how big you get. If you're getting a bunch of money in, yes, you definitely want to get the LLC. You know what I mean? And because it just protects you more.
Now, when you're actively racing, how often do you travel out of state?
I would say it depends on the series that I'm doing. You know what I mean? But I would say, about 4 or 5 times a year, because I have my 9 to 5 job doesn't allow me to. I would say they would allow me, but I don't want to take away from the kids. I work for, a school district, and so I don't want to take from the students. I mean, if I'm taking off every Thursday and Friday, the kids lose out. You know what I mean? They lose. If your
That's
teacher is
awesome.
not there and you have a substitute, it's definitely not the same, and it's not fair to them. They signed up for your class, to learn, and you keep disappearing. Of course, they're proud of you for doing what you do, and they get to watch you on TV if you're doing a Moto America.
That's my teacher.
Huh? Yes, I'm.
My teacher. That's my teacher.
Yeah, that's exactly. So they get all happy about that, but also I gotta look like, am I? I got into the industry because I wanted to help, not take away from kids, So
Yeah.
I try not to take days off as least amount possible.
And may I ask what your setup is when you do travel? Do you have like a pickup truck or a trailer or a
Yeah.
camper?
If it's a small local event or something where I'm just doing a practice or training somebody, I will be in a van. I have a van, and that's the best setup. If anybody can get is a Sprinter van. You know what I mean? One of those high things because you can stand straight up in it. I have a regular van, and so I'm bent over, complaining and saying choice words as I'm trying to get it locked in. So get a Sprinter van. They're a lot more expensive, but you'll be happier. You know, what I mean, I got a good price on my van, but I wish I had a Sprinter van. You know, but I do have a van and I have a 16-foot trailer. You know, what I mean, which fits as many bikes in as I need. You can put all your canopies and everything like that in it. So it's just a one big race setup. And when you get there, you put your canopies out, you know what I mean? And you want to make your pit look really good. You know what I mean? That's my thing, to make it look nice. I put the carpeting down and everything like that. So, because once again, for the sponsors, if they see that and you post some pictures, your pit looks nice and everybody else's doesn't, they're like, okay, well, I want to be a part of that.
I want to be represented right.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, man, I think I'm gonna regret talking to you, man, because I sounds exciting as hell. And then you usually show up a day before, you camp out,
Yeah.
but or maybe even 2 days before, right?
You know,
So what's the schedule?
my schedule is, I just noticed I only got 2%. Can I get a 30-second break real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm gonna grab the charger real fast, man. I'm sorry.
No problem,
I
man.
apologize.
Man, he's gonna make me spend money, and I'm gonna want to get another bike, and then I'm gonna want a Sprinter van. Ah, I wonder if I should sell. Like, I wish there was more people online so I can ask, would it be worth selling bikes that I have and doing this? I don't know. I don't know. Mookie's got me thinking a lot. I mean, a lot. Are you doing this on your computer?
Yep. At my, what do you call it? My iPad that I use at work.
Nice.
I'm using my work iPad because the camera's better on the little Apple stuff than the computer I use. So, as long as you have top quality. All right. So back to it. What was your question? Did you ask again?
Nothing. As you were walking away, I was like, "Man, Mookie's gonna get me in trouble because I'm gonna want to be doing this." But my question
Well,
to
come along, man. I would encourage you to come and at least take a look at a race weekend and see what I do. You know what I mean? Come and hang out in the pit. Anybody, you know what I mean? I welcome all you to come and check it out. You see a lot of great racing, especially this weekend is gonna be like, you know, it's gonna be some.
what's going on this weekend? What? Tell me the event, what you're doing, what people can expect, where they can see it, who's invited.
Yeah, well, everyone's invited. It's at Chuckwalla. I'm new at this series, the CVMA series. You can look it up, Chuckwalla Racing or CVMA Racing. You'll see from the 300s that I was talking about, some 300s. You'll see 400s. You'll see the 600 races. You'll see the twins class. You see 1000s, and you see some big names. If you never got a chance to go to a Moto America event before, quite a few of them would be out here because it's the off season for everybody, but they want to stay sharp. So you quite likely to see M4 Suzuki where some of the riders from. All right, they might not bring the truck, but you'll see them out in the 600s. You know what I mean? Super sport, and they're giving away big money out there. You know, so that's why everybody's doing it, to try to make a little bit. You know, to keep their programs going. But it's big fun, and it's, you know, if they even have these little huts out there where you can rent, you know, these little apartments, you know, and so you can stay for 2 days, just rent them. They're like $140 a night or something
like villas and stuff. Oh, you know what? Hold on. One second. Hold on. I think I lost sound. What's going on here? Let me fix this. One second. I think. Can you hear me? No. Yeah. Hold on. What happened here? No. You can hear me? Yeah, I can't. Let me see what's happening. What happened? What a learning lesson. Let me remove. Test. You there? Let me see. 1 2 1 2. You know, I think you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Check where your microphone's going, because I think that's mute. That's mute. That's mute. Let me remove. You can hear me? I can't hear you. You can't. Oh. Uh, all right. 1 second. Let's do this real quick. 1 second. Let's try that now. Still nothing? All right, let's get you off that link and then click on that link again. So you're probably gonna have to go to the bottom where it says Leaf Studio. Oh, it doesn't say Leaf Studio? Oh. All right, hold on.